Welcome to another episode of the Executive Exclusive. I'm your County Executive, Julie Giordano, and as always with me is my trusty sidekick and your amazing Director of Administration, and mine too, Bunky Luffman. Bunky, thank you so much for being here with us.
It's great to be here again.
Yeah, I know. It's been a little bit since we've been here, so I feel like we need to get back in the game and get back in routine, but it's always so busy. So we're happy we can be here today. We have had such a busy last couple, 4 weeks or so, and so I wanted to touch on some of the awesome things that we have going on. And of course, we always want to address any sort of nonsensical things that we need to address. But I think it's always good for you to hear both sides and then formulate your own opinion. But the first thing that we are going to talk about is the amazing thing that we have coming up, which is tomorrow. And I know this will air and it might not be tomorrow, but on Thursday, October 10th, the governor and our 2 U.S. senators will be making their way to Wicomico County. And Bunk, do you want to tell them for what?
This would be for the runway extension at our airport. So it's something that our county has worked on for the last 7 years. It's taken us 7 years. And in particularly in the last several months. And this is something that needed several sign-offs, reviews, that kind of thing. So as this sort of languished, the executive herself, along with airport, members of the airport commission, we would reach out and say, hey, where's this at? It's on. We heard it was on your desk. Can you move this forward?
Yeah.
And it really did. Once you started reaching out to those different people at the state level, it really did start picking up speed.
It did. It did. And I feel like it was so necessary. It was getting to the point where we kept asking for updates, and it was like, oh, we're just waiting on the state. That's what we kept hearing. We're just waiting on the state. Well, for us, we were like, you know what? That's not good enough. We're moving forward with this. And so we were able to make those phone calls, and we were able to get it done. And again, as he stated, this is a 7-year project, and tomorrow we are breaking ground. And it's going to be a beautiful day at the airport. People are able to come out. We have our media coming out. Again, dignitaries are coming. We're going to be trucking them down to the end of the runway where the extension is going to take place. Can you also tell our citizens, because some people are like, okay, great, you're extending your runway, but can you tell people why this is so important that we're doing this extension?
So Piedmont, the airline we have out there, sometimes they have to fly a flight when they're coming in with less people because you can't go over a certain weight ratio. And it's not like what I thought originally, maybe it was a length of an airplane, but it really is with braking systems and sort of designs of the airplane. So the thing that they fly, the plane that they fly into in Salisbury needs a longer runway in order for them to have a full complement of passengers. So this is really good news, not just for our airport, but also for Piedmont, which is a local business, and also to the extent that we may want to go out and see if there's other airlines that would love to fly into Salisbury. This also widens that net.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have one that's interested, that has sort of been made public, not the name of it specifically, but the route. And the route right now potentially will go from Salisbury to Florida. We probably don't want to go there this week, but once we get through hurricane season, then that will be awesome because you'll be able to take a direct flight potentially to Orlando. There was a couple of other locations in Florida. But that is just the first step. And I think that is just going to be so awesome for us, for economic development, just expanding our airport. We know it's an economic jewel, and we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to do everything we can for the airport and making sure that we are putting a lot of energy and time and money, because everything at the airport's expensive, but we want to make sure to keep, working towards those goals, for our airport. So. And we have an awesome airport director, Tony Rudy. He's done a great job, and I know he's been super stressed trying to plan everything, but I'm sure tomorrow's going to go great. We're really excited about that. And then the second part of that, because wait, it doesn't stop there. We have talked about this a couple times on the show, but we are about 95% complete with our aviation maintenance school. This is something that I have seen, or my administration has seen, from start to almost finish. About 3 days into office, I signed a $3.3 million check that Governor Hogan graciously gave to Tri-County. Tri-County gave us, the governor gave a $10 million check to the Tri-County Council. That money was divided amongst 3 counties. We each got $3.3 million. we made the choice to put it into our airport and invest. And not only did we invest in the airport, we invested in students, we invested in education, and most importantly, we invested in jobs. And this is so exciting. The governor is all about this project. He is going to see it tomorrow. Our U.S. senators are going to see it tomorrow, where we have airplanes and helicopters and tools, and we are just waiting for that final sign-off from the FAA, and hopefully in the spring, we are going to have our first set of students. It'll be 25 students. It's a year-long program, and then they will graduate out of this program or be certified as an A&P mechanic, which stands for airframe and power plant. And they will have the potential to work right there at our airport with Piedmont, or they will be able to go anywhere. There are so many companies out there that need aviation mechanics. So we are so excited to help this industry. And the best part is this is unparalleled to anything in the United States, and we have it right here in Wicomico County. Do you want to comment on the school at all?
Yeah, there's no place that has a local government-owned airport along with HBCU in partnership to create this kind of school. So we're really excited about it. We have an airline, Piedmont is willing to hire the graduates of this. We also have heard from anecdotally from other airlines that they would like to get involved and get some of the graduates. So this isn't just a good thing for our area, but this and a good thing for your children if they want to go into this program, but also nationally because there is a shortage of these positions. So this actually helps us get at a national issue, which should raise the profile even more of this program and our partnership.
Yeah, I mean, Maryland is going to be, I mean, we're on the map for other things, but this is just something, and it's going to be the Eastern Shore of Maryland, which is so exciting because we don't get a lot of shout outs that way. We have Purdue here, which is awesome, and Piedmont, of course, is headquartered here, and we have a lot of great things here, don't get me wrong, but this will be something that no one else has, and so it's just really exciting. So that is an exciting time for us. So lots going on at the airport. So hopefully you'll either read about it, watch it on the news, or maybe even come out and see us. So we will keep you posted on that. I'm sure we'll have some sort of reflection afterwards and talk about that. So on the topic of groundbreaking, we also have another groundbreaking. October is super busy for us. Yeah. Some places or some people have October surprises, and we have what?
October results.
October results. I love it. But we have a groundbreaking that is really near and dear to my heart. So again, this is a developer came to us and said, we are interested in moving our business here to Wicomico County. And it is St. John's property. They are so well known really across the United States. Actually, how many square footage do they have? Do you remember?
About 25 million square foot.
Yeah, so 25 million square feet across the nation, and they're coming here, and they have invested in one particular property, but actually we just met with one of the representatives, and he told us that they're looking at, 3 or 4 different properties? So they're going to be making their presence here in Wicomico County, and I feel just really proud because we brought them here, and this is going to be an excellent opportunity. They build this beautiful office type flex space, and you can use it for anything. Like people rent out the spaces. You could have a regular office there. You could have a daycare there. You could have some sort of commercial store there, a retail store there. So it is definitely something that is needed. They've already had people reach out. And so hopefully this will also attract other businesses coming down here. And it is going to be, the groundbreaking is going to be right at the Westwood location on October 15th at 10 a.m. And it is right in front of our brand new sheriff's office. So we're really excited. Excellent location. Do you want to comment on anything with St. John's?
Well, and here's how you'll know where it's at, because a while ago, I don't know, 6-9 months, whatever it was ago, we got inundated with calls because they thought the county had chopped down a bunch of trees so that you could see the sheriff's office from 50.
Right.
Actually, it was the preparation of this site for St. John's Properties to build on. So that's where it's at, sort of across from the new 7-Eleven. It's been there a couple of years, but still new.
Yeah.
So that's where it's at. And yeah, it's just a wonderful opportunity. Also, St. John's Properties is sort of one of those, they're influential in their sector. So the fact that they're willing to invest in Wicomico is we believe, going to make other people in that sector say, well, why are they going to Wicomico? What have they got going on that attracted St. John's Properties? So we believe that this could be the first of other commercial developments, which of course will lead to more jobs, which is always great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, I say this quote all the time, but one thing that was said was that what St. John's was able to accomplish in like 18 months in Wicomico County would have taken 5 years in another county right in Maryland. Yeah. And so I think that that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes of our administration because, again, this wasn't something that we walked in on. This is something that we brought. And so we were able to say, not only are we a business-friendly administration, our county is business-friendly, and we're going to prove it to you. And I feel like we did. We proved that it wasn't just lip service. You know, because here they are. They're getting ready to break ground, and it just would have been, I think, a lot more difficult in other counties. And so I'm really proud. I'm really proud of us. I'm proud of the efforts of planning and zoning and the planning commission and just, you know, everybody. Dave Ryan from SWED and John McClellan showing him the different properties. We all just, again, came together and worked so well together to create this really awesome thing. And so it will, you know, the starting of it will be right on Tuesday, or I think next Tuesday. So that's exciting.
Well, and I'm really appreciative of Mr. St. John, Ed St. John, who started the company. He came down and he rode, you know, the trolley, and sort of Dave Ryan from SWED, you know, led this, and so we sort of rode around the county and said, here's a parcel, here's a parcel, here's a parcel, you know, different places that would fit where they would be, and like you said, they're looking at multiple properties to invest in. I mean, they don't even have the first one built yet, and they already like our business atmosphere so much that they're already looking at other properties. They want to invest more already, so that's a great sign. And also need to give a good shout out to our planning and zoning department, who also does permitting. Also, they've had to, they've worked with the city of Salisbury because that particular parcel is in the city of Salisbury. So it was a really great effort across the board of getting a business across a finish line. They still have a ways to go to actually get it built and everything like that. And really, that's the sort of efficiency every business should expect. And that's sort of the standard we have, is that that efficient process isn't just for a company like St. John. That efficient process should be the standard for every single business in Wicomico County.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I feel like we've done, a good job. We could turn it up a little bit, of course, but reaching out to businesses, what are some harmful regulations that are hurting you? What are things that we can do to make life easier for you? And we continue to do that. And I think that I've heard from several businesses, just the permitting process, just different things have improved so much over the last 2 years. And I'm really proud of our efforts for that. So, so good job to us and good job to our team, because we wouldn't be anywhere without them. So thank you. And then we took a trip to New York City, and we go, not every year, but these last 2 years that I've been in office, we have gone both years, because we go up there because we present basically the county to bond raters, like credit raters, to Moody's and S&P, and we had a great time while we were up there. And I'm telling you, I can't even explain to you how proud I am of our team. So it was the three of us, me, Bunky, and Matt, who is the Assistant Director of Administration. We had our Director of Finance, Pam Oland, and Dave Ryan with SWED. And Pam and Dave really took the lead on this, and they just knocked it out of the park. And so do you want to tell everybody, if you haven't heard about it, you didn't see my press release, maybe you'll hear it on here, but what was our good news?
So we were upgraded by Moody's, and this comes on the heels of about a month ago, we were upgraded by Fitch.
You're right.
So our credit rating has went up. They had great quotes about our government in the rating, because they sort of give an explanation and all of that. So yeah, it is incredible good news for us.
Yeah, and so it was just the things that they said. They really, sometimes I think that there are things that happen. You hear the noise and all this stuff, and you think like, am I really doing a good job? I ask myself that all the time. Like, am I doing a good job? Are we doing a good job? Are we doing the work of the people? Are we adhering to all, and listening and doing all the things that we said we were going to do? And then you get something like that from a credit rating where we made promises to them, right? So we're going over our presentation and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And they gave us some feedback, need to work on these things. And then we were able to work on them. And we showed them, like, it wasn't, again, just lip service. We showed them, this is what we've done. And it showed. I mean, the credit rating showed. I mean, that in itself is just, the proof is in the pudding that we did exactly what we said we were going to do. And I think that that just speaks volumes of us and speaks volumes of our county. And again, how well we work together and how successful we have been in these last 2 years. So I'm really, again, I'm just proud of us. And I think that I'm allowed to say that because it's a huge ordeal. You know, there were a lot of things that they wanted us to work on, and we did. And we have just moved forward in the direction that we said we were going to.
Yeah,
So.
when we went up last year, you know, Wayne Strasberg went with us, and I'm very thankful of him. You know, we've brought him back, former director of administration. We have him on a contract helping us out on stuff. And it's been great, especially in this area, but in several areas, being able to pick Wayne's brain for knowledge because, you know, he worked for both Rick Pollitt, our first executive, and Bob Culver, our second, and then the acting county executive, John Pasota, and as a consultant, and now he's consulting with us. So his level of expertise has been great. And he really, really helped us set the tone last year, where we said, yes, we'll work on these things. And then he didn't go this year, but we were able to then follow up this year and say, yes, did that. You know, and we were able to highlight, you know, what we just talked about with the airport as a major thing. And you know, it's really exciting. There are things that are coming to fruition in our county that are really good. There are some commercial things that you're going to hear about in the next, 6 months to a year with different businesses that are looking to invest here and open up here. So it's a really good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about a couple of things that occurred, and we just want to do some clarification. But before we talk about that, I always say we're getting ready to go into a busy time. There's never not a busy time, but we're getting ready to go into our CIP, which is our Capital Improvement Plan. So a lot of people, I think, have a confusion on that. So again, this is just a plan. It's a planning document. It allows our department heads to really brainstorm and figure out what are their capital needs. So this isn't the operational piece of it, but this is more so the capital needs of the county. And so we're going to be having those meetings coming up. Wayne's going to be a part of that. And it'll be really interesting to see the direction. You know, we've done a lot of great things and have a lot of things either wrapping up or getting ready to get started or that we're in the middle of. So it will be interesting to see those meetings. We also are going to take the time. We are working very diligently on a strategic plan or updating the strategic plan. We have our new county mission statement. That's going to be made available on our website very shortly. And we are going to be formulating our strategic plan around that county mission. So we're going to be kind of killing two birds with one stone. We're going to be meeting about the CIP, and then we'll also be talking about the strategic plan. So anything you want to add on the CIP?
The CIP, in addition to being able to financially forecast our next 5 years, it also is a great thought experiment for everyone. You know, where are we going to be in 5 years? You know, if our building has a boiler, is that going to last 5 years? If not, are we going to need to replace it? Is it going to be replaced in 2 or 3 or 4 or this year? So it's sort of, and we get to sit down with all the department heads and have these conversations. So which is incredibly important, both financially, but also vision-wise. Where do I envision my department in 5 years? You know, so.
Yeah. So that'll be in the next couple weeks. So coming up, relatively soon. So there were a couple of things that, of course, we wanted to address, and we wanted to just do some clarification on a couple of things. The first thing is the legislative breakfast. So we had talked about this, I feel like last meeting, we kind of explained what we do with the legislative breakfast, but I want all of the citizens to understand there are a couple ways that you can do a legislative breakfast. One, it doesn't even have to be a breakfast. It can just be a meeting. And a lot of times what people do is they will meet with different stakeholders. They'll meet with education, they'll meet with public safety, and they sort of just jot down, okay, what are your needs? What are your needs? And then the county executive and the team just reiterate it to the delegation. So when they go to Annapolis and they hear about legislation or they might be able to do something or, hey, my county's having this issue, that, they have that information. Instead of doing it that way, what we decided to do was we looked at all of our priorities, the things that are important to us. One of them is education. Another is public safety. We have our business community. We have our water and sewer. We had so many volunteer firemen. We had so many stakeholders that were so important to us. So rather than sitting there, us meeting with them, and then reiterating it to our delegation, we invited everyone to this legislative breakfast. I want everyone to understand that every single person that is in that room is a priority of ours. Every single person. So I heard, in the council meeting, we had Councilman Holloway say just a couple of just nasty things. And in all honesty, there's a lot of nasty things that are said in council meetings. And most of it I just kind of let roll off my back. It's fine. But this really hurt me because I had a vision for this legislative breakfast, and it's never been done this way. And I want everybody there. I want those entities there because I feel it is so much more beneficial for our delegates and senators to hear it from Dr. Micah Stauffer, or hear it from a representative of law enforcement, or hear it from our state's attorney, or hear it from the business community themselves. I feel like it means so much more. And to make the comment that the only thing we were worried about was some liquor legislation that we had talked about at the very beginning was just really just ignorant and hurtful. And I really don't think that he thinks that. I mean, I would hope that he doesn't think that, because if he thinks that my only priorities are what I talked about, every single person in that room is a priority of mine. If they weren't a priority, they wouldn't be in that room. So it's just, it's very frustrating to me. And I hope most people who are watching this are like, yeah, we knew that. Everybody that's in there. Why would you invite them if they weren't a priority of the county? So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Well, not just that. It is incredibly difficult to, especially, and I worked for a delegate for 2 years, for a member of the delegation to sort of set up those individual meetings, scheduling it all out. So I've been going to the legislative breakfast, I believe, since 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. And what it was at that time was county council, county executive, director of administration, I think the finance director at the time, but, very few staff, and then members of the delegation. And and then the public. And that was it. And, so it wasn't a sort of critical mass of stakeholders. So it was that other model you talked about, where presumably either members of the delegation or member of the council or the executive had sort of talked to these stakeholders and would talk for them to the extent they did at the meeting. And you changed the model last year where you said, no, these people need to be in the room. And, if you're not in the room, you can't have a seat at the table.
Right.
So you literally were giving major stakeholders like Dr. Stauffer, like the sheriff's office, like the City of Salisbury Police Department, who I believe was there, the Fire Chiefs Association president, I believe, was there. So, and I'm going to leave some out, but there were several stakeholders. And then you literally went around the room and said, Dr. Stauffer, you have anything to add? Chief, do you have anything to add? That kind of thing. And it is incredibly important to recognize that you literally allowed them in their own words to address the delegation and the council and us, which is better than us, playing a game of telephone, and trying to relay their message on. It's just a better format. And so the only similarity between now and 15 years ago is it's a breakfast, and,
right.
and it occurs in the Civic Center.
Right.
And I think we also heard praise on your format this year, because there was a member of the delegation that said, Dr. Stauffer, last year when you talked about juvenile crime, that helped us so much in Annapolis. So, and that conversation may or may not have happened had you not had the breakfast, but it literally happened at the breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a benefit for the taxpayer, it's a benefit for all of our stakeholders, and it's a benefit for the General Assembly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And again, for example, if we're talking about juvenile crime, I'm pretty good at theatrics, I think, but I don't know if I would be able to express the frustration and the issues that our law enforcement and state's attorney can do. Like, they needed to hear it from them because it's their lives every single day. If I had sat down with our state's attorney or with the sheriff's office or with one of the municipal police chiefs, yeah, they could have told me, yeah, okay, so this isn't working, this is working, can we try this or this? And then me try to reiterate it or you try to reiterate it, that's fine. And that's how it used to be. But again, it means so much more when you hear the passion in their voice, or you hear the frustration in your voice, or you hear the celebratory excitement in their voice, depending on what the topic is. So I think it's super important. And I'm not going to change the format next year. I'm going to keep it the same way. You know, we had more people this year than we did last year, and people have a seat at the table. And everything from, like we said, public safety to education to our business people to real estate to water and sewer to finance to rec and parks, they all had a seat at the table. And if anybody, and then we even opened it up, is there anything that we did not cover that anybody wants to share? And so again, just to hear that blatant ignorance pour out of his mouth is just, I'm sorry, it was just really hurtful, because I feel like it was very successful, and I think that they felt it was successful. And obviously they did, because they came back. They did it last year, and people were excited and came back this year. I like the way we had the room set up. I think I'm going to do that again. And I even forgot, like, higher education. Warwick was there. So we reached out, and this county was represented in that room. And I feel like our delegation, especially our new delegate, Barry Beecham, was there. You know, I feel like they feel more prepared. They do. And one thing that I talked to, that one of the senators talked about, was just how Dr. Stauffer last year, he talked about the juvenile crime and the juvenile issue. This year he talked about how we do not have the resources that we need to help every student. We don't have a Kennedy Krieger here or that type of establishment. And when our delegation heard that, they're like, oh my gosh, this is huge. So now they're able to go, and whether it's do something this year, but at least lobby and figure out, like, hey, what's going on? Like, can we get some help down here on the shore? So again, just important to have those conversations there. And I'm hoping that people understand the value of that. And any of the public next year, if you hear Legislative Breakfast, you are welcome to come and attend. It's very interesting. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. People who hadn't been last year who came this year said, this was so great. We got to hear everything, and it was very interesting. So anyway, so that's that. I just wanted to address that comment because, like I said, it just struck a nerve. And typically I'm pretty good about just letting stuff go, but that one I just couldn't let go because of it.
And I won't say who it was, but even one of the people that praised us for it is someone that you may recognize, at the county council who hasn't always been praiseworthy of you at the county council, came up afterwards and loved it. So
yeah. Well, thank you to that person.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so moving on, there was another thing that was discussed, and this has been a hot topic for a couple of years now, and that is Horizon. So, okay, the first thing that I need to address is a lot of people, I was getting phone calls from a lot of different people saying, we don't think this person deserves the tax credit, and this, that, and the other, and I think there was even some verbiage and rhetoric that went out there like, oh, he's just one of her developer buddies, and that's why she's putting this application forward. And I want to explain to everybody, before I was county executive, this Horizon bill was passed. Bunky actually has the legislation right with him.
I do, right here.
So there's one thing that I want to address on here. The county executive does not have a say as to who gets this tax credit and who doesn't. The bill is passed, and if a developer develops a building similar to the Ross that has, housing, or I forget what the other technical things were, but anyway, and they check all of these boxes, box A, box B, box C, they are eligible for the tax credit. The legislation for the county executive, can you read it? Do you have it marked there? What am I supposed to do when somebody applies? And
you can find this on the county website, or email me and I'll send it to you. So under applications, there are 3 points. It says a property owner must apply for a property tax credit under the section by submitting an application to Wicomico County Finance Department within 90 days of receipt of an assessment notice reflecting the renovations or construction improvements. Point 2, after review by the Finance Department, the application shall be submitted for approval by the county executive and the county council by resolution. That says shall, that doesn't say may. Our office has no authority to not submit it to the council. So it shall be submitted is the language. Again, this is something that was passed by the county council and the acting executive before either of us were there. And then third is renovations or construction improvements made before July 1st, 2021 do not qualify for property tax credit under that section because of when it passed.
Right. So the biggest thing I want people to understand is that I have to submit it to the county council or else I'm breaking a law. So it doesn't matter if I know Nick Simpson, who is the person who designed the Ross and built the Ross. or if I like him or don't like him or what, that has nothing to do with it. If an application comes in by law, I send it to the county council for consideration. Now, the county council voted, it was a 3-3 with one abstention, so it did not pass for him to get the tax credit, which there are some people that are very upset about that because he met the qualifications, the application was a little late, people have said the timing doesn't matter, so there was a lot of discussion back and forth. But as far as the county executive is concerned, it doesn't matter if I like him, don't like him, love the building, hate the building, like Horizon, don't like Horizon. I have to submit every single application to the county council. Have to. It says again, shall submit it. Not may, can choose, I can't choose. I have to submit it. And then the county council does their thing and they vote it either up or down. So I just wanted to put that out there. So I know that there are a lot of residents that don't love the Horizon. They don't love the Ross building. They didn't want, him to get the tax credit. And that's fine. That's your opinion. But I don't want anybody to think that the county executive has a say. Afterwards, if it had been a legislative bill and I didn't agree with what their vote was, I could have vetoed it. But I didn't even have that option of veto. This is a resolution, so I don't have any say. Once it goes to the council, that's it. I literally am just a pass-through. It comes into finance, it comes to me, and then I submit it to the council for consideration. So I just wanted everybody to understand that this is not a favor that was done because he's a buddy of mine or anything like that. It just wasn't. I mean, it's just law. And I'm not one for breaking laws. So I'm going to follow exactly what it says to do. The application came in, and I submitted it to council, and then council had their vote. So, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, that's right on. And if the council didn't like the current council didn't like the process that was passed legislatively by the old council, they could have and still could at any time pass a new law that changes the process. Mm-hmm. They chose to do it by resolution, which expressly does not allow the executive any say after they pass it, either to sign off on it or to veto it. They did that. That wasn't a choice of us. That was the previous council, and it's never been changed. So
right, and it makes it a little difficult. So there is a little bit of concern where if person checks all these boxes and qualifies for a tax credit, is the legislative body allowed to say no if all these qualifications are met? But that is not my issue. That's an issue between Mr. Simpson and the county council. I did my part as that pass-through, and so we will see what happens. I think Horizon, the discussion about whether to continue the program or not is going to be on the next council meeting. So if it's something that you're interested in, we do suggest either attending or watching the council meeting at some point on Tuesday, October 15th. And then the last thing that I wanted to address is, of course, the elephant in the room is Question A. So the first thing I want to talk about is a mailer that went out. So there is a mailer floating out there. I think one particular party received the mailer as opposed to others. And I'm just going to say this, and if you watched my Facebook Live, you probably saw my emotion and you saw how frustrated I was about it. And the reason that I'm frustrated is because that mailer is so misleading. It is so misleading because it makes the people of Wicomico County, or they think that you would think that law enforcement is in favor of this Question A. Law enforcement is not in favor of Question A. Overall, law enforcement is not. You can talk to numerous law enforcement and first responders out there, and they are voting against Question A. They understand how important having a county executive is and a county executive form of government. And that doesn't just go with me. The things that law enforcement in particular have received because of a county executive are huge. First and foremost, there is a beautiful $37 million sheriff's office that is out on that road getting ready to get occupied in the next couple weeks by our amazing deputies. And that's because of the county executive. That's because of the county executive. Bottom line, Bob Culver started that. John Pesota sort of saw it through, and I'll be kind of doing, and I kind of worked on the tail end of it. But I have to give both of those gentlemen credit because that building would not be there without those two county executives. The other thing is we just wrapped up a contract with the FOP, giving them a 2.5% COLA in retirement, as well as a really good raise, along with a ton of other things that we cleaned up from the previous negotiation and previous contract. What's frustrating is that the council voted it down originally, and then we had to go back And then I think the mailer talks about it being late. Well, it was late because it got voted down by the council because they didn't, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that law enforcement and first responders are voting against Question A. They just are. You can go out there, look at any of their Facebook pages. You could talk to, I'll bet you 99% of them. Because I'm not going to say 100 because I don't know. I haven't talked to 100% of them. 99%. After that mailer went out, I know I had 15 call me. Or text me or message me and say, I'm so sorry, I don't feel this way, my family doesn't feel this way. This is so misleading. And this is the part of politics that I hate. Just, tell about your side and why your side is the right way. Don't sit here and first off criticize the one side, but then completely lie and then make it sound so deceiving. I mean, I know that's like just typical politics. I mean, it just sounds like, but it's just so frustrating to me. You have 103,000 people here who are a very back the blue community. And to sit there and use law enforcement like that was so gross to me. It was so gross. So the mailer is trash. I don't know if you received it or not, but I said on the my Facebook Live, and I'm going to say it here, there are two places for things like that. The garbage, or you can use it as a fire starter and you can make a s'more. Because that is more productive than what was on that mailer. But Question A, there is a forum. It's actually going to happen, very soon, tonight actually. But I know whenever this airs, it'll probably have already been over. But there is a forum tonight, and our friends at PAC 14 are going to be out there. And, I think it'll be good. It'll give us some information about what are the benefits of a councilmanic form of government, what are the benefits of having a county executive. Question A is huge, and I implore you, if you do not understand the ballot questions, there's two. There's Question 1 and there's Question A. If you don't understand either one of them, please reach out. Please reach out. I had somebody call me today to say that their neighbor had a sign in their yard and they didn't even know what it was for. And that is so dangerous. That is dangerous on so many levels. Please make yourself knowledgeable about the two questions. Please make yourself knowledgeable. I think the Daily Times posted the new charter for the first time, I think, and that's going to run a $36,000 ad that it's going to run. But be that as it may, it's there. Look through it, but, it literally, just so we understand, it is eliminating the executive branch of government. And with that, you're eliminating checks and balances. You're eliminating a balance of power. You're eliminating the ability to veto bad legislation. So to me, I don't know why anybody would want to regress and go back to the councilmanic form of government. Like, we made it, we're here, but I know it's probably hard for you to talk about, but do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, not just that. One of the things, and
I get passionate, sorry, yeah.
Gaines Hawkins, wrote an article for the Salisbury Independent where he interviewed several people, and a majority of which are voting against Question A, but the council president obviously voted for it. He said something interesting in his part, which was he was asked about how much you could save, and the whole office is $700 some a year, and he said, well, we think we can save about half that, which is a stark contrast from when this exercise first began. We were told by a different council member they were going to save $800,000.
Right.
So now they've already backed off, and I assume because people like us have been like, no, you are not going to save 100% of that. You're probably not going to save anything, honestly, given the salary increases across the board, the new Rehoboth Beach, town manager, how much they're making. That's a market setting contract that they got. Sort of what Deshaun Watson did for quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah. That contract, because people are going to be like, oh, maybe I don't need the $250,000 a year, but that guy is making $250 for Rehoboth, which isn't that big. You want me to manage your whole county? I'm going to need more than what you're paying the current guy, which is me. So that's sort of the argument if this is passed that the next people will hear. So you're not going to save any money. It's not going to happen.
Really quick on that. It is interesting, though, that it's gone from 800,000 to now we're below half of that.
Yeah.
So we're at, already at like a 55 to 60% cut already.
Yeah.
So as to what the savings is going to be.
Yep. And it's just, and then there was another comment at a council meeting where there were two. There was someone that wanted to vote against the question, and the gentleman used to be Assistant Secretary of the Air Force who also went to law school. And so he sort of quoted the Federalist Papers and went through the importance of three branches of government. Then another gentleman got up and said that the county doesn't have a court essentially. There is court oversight over the county, and the county council is well aware of this since they lost a lawsuit
Right.
that we brought when they tried to defund the police officer we have in our department, which is my deputy, Matt Leitzel, when they tried to defund his position, and we went to court and they lost. So there absolutely is judicial oversight over county government. I'm not sure where that comment was coming from, but there is. So we do have, executive, we do have legislative, and we do have judicial oversight.
Yeah.
As again, we proved when they lost that lawsuit.
And we had to because, we used the judicial branch. I mean,
Yes.
that was the only way to get the resolution. We both had differences of opinions. We were reading the charter one way. They were reading the charter another way. So when you have that contrast, who else is going to be making the decision? You'll have to have judicial review, which happened, and it just so happened to be in our favor. So, I didn't understand those two. I didn't understand that comment either. That there is no. I mean, what do we not have a judicial branch right in the government building? Well, we do. It's just right next door. So it's just one building over. So
and we do. There is I think the main point is the checks and balances is sort of an oversight and a check and a balance. So we do have a check and balance from the judiciary branch, as the council found out when they were checked, by the judiciary.
Right. Well, anyway, so we're getting closer to Election Day. So Election Day is November 5th. Early voting starts October 24th. So I hope everybody goes out and votes. I'm hoping you'll vote against Question A. You'll understand the importance of it. And I've tried to tell people, while the legislative branch has made this personal, because it's definitely personal, I hope that the citizens can see past it and they don't make it personal. Yeah. This is not about me. This is about the future of our county, and we just can't regress. I just can't imagine anybody saying this is a good idea to go back to an old way that literally ended up with a 24% tax hike. There are no checks and balances. Bad legislation or reactive legislation can be passed, and there's no way to veto it. There's no way. And here's the deal. I have vetoed, I think, 2 different pieces of legislation, and they've overrode both of them. And that's okay. That's in their purview. They're able to do it. But you know what it does? It does give them the ability to think. There is time to think on it. And if they still feel that strongly about it, then they can do it. But there might come a time where I may veto something, and then they start to think about it and say, you know what, maybe we were a bit reactive, and that's kind of what that hope is. And that's why that is in there. Are you sure you really want to do this? And again, you're taking that whole thing away. And the biggest thing, and we'll end on this, but the biggest thing is that the county executive is your voice. It is your elected representation of who runs this county. And I know people say, well, the council's elected, but the council is elected as the legislators, obviously. But then they're picking kind of the executive branch, because you're not losing the executive branch. You're just sort of replacing it with a council administrator. So you still have that person, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing very much frustrates me. It's not getting rid of a position. It's literally getting rid of your voice and your choice as to who you want as the person running the county. And I can't imagine that anybody could put a price on that, because it's priceless. Your vote is so precious, and do not allow them to take your voice. So we are obviously strong advocates against, Question A. Please go out and vote against Question A. I know that there's a lot of chatter out there, a lot of rumors out there. And as I stated in my press conference, they are going to be throwing anything at the wall right now. So I think, October 9th right now. And we'll see. We still got 20 days left. It's a long month. So we'll see what happens. But we're really hoping that they're going to stay above bar. Again, we're promoting the great things that are going on in this county. Again, my October, what do we call them? Not October surprises.
October results.
The October results. My October result, the first one, of course, was the bond rating. And then we're going to have an amazing time tomorrow with everything that we've been working on with the airport. We have St. John's. We just have some really great things coming up. And so that's kind of what we're going to be promoting from our side. So we'll see. But anyway, we hope that we will be back here before the results. I really do. I hope that we can get back in here. We'll see. October is a very busy month, but again, we'll try to do another episode before the vote November 5th, the final vote November 5th. So other than that, do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope, nothing more to add.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we hope to see you soon, and we all hope you have a great day.